precision. If you see Terrence hitting him with the hooks to the body, either southpaw or right-handed, with precision to the body after 4 rounds, you get a sense maybe he can do it. But
do you think?
But Shawn fought Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
As close as you could fight him. Yeah. Right? And then Errol Spence was one of the best welterweight fights in at least 10 years. That was an all-time great fight, and the knockdown was the difference, razor thin. So I'm just surprised that it's a 7-1 type fight. It's not a 7-1 type.
Hey Max.
Do you think Shawn should come out very aggressive against one?
No, Shawn. I think Shawn has slept on boxing skills because he doesn't punch straight, but Shawn knows. Shawn has a very good intuitive sense of, like, it's instinctual when to engage whenever the other guy doesn't want to. Then you see Shawn roughing him up, and now the other guy thinks, okay, we're going to brawl. Now Shawn's on the outside. Yeah. Which means that he is the fighter with the initiative. He's the one dictating how it's going to go. He does, and Terrence can take advantage.
Exactly.
Hey, Max.
Does knock out Porter. Does that put him above Spence in welterweight? Or is he already?
No, he hasn't proven as much at welterweight, but I suspect he's the best welterweight in the world. And that's the whole thing. It's just you suspect that you don't have the evidence yet. Mm-hmm. If he has a better time with Shawn than Spence or Thurman for that matter, then that's a good piece of evidence. And then it becomes, okay, who wants to make the fight and who doesn't? And if Spence or Thurman or whoever never really wants to make the fight, then they won't fight him. And then we'll look at what he did against Porter. If he wins, and if he wins more impressively than them, that's still a big if. Shawn is being a little disrespected here in terms of people just assuming he's going to lose it by a wide margin. He really doesn't do that. But if that's what happens, then people will draw their conclusions that the PBC guys were using the street as an excuse.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Canelo moving up to cruiserweight?
I didn't ask you. Go ahead, what?
They got rumors that Errol's going to be ringside for tomorrow's fight. Is there any kind of indication that this fight if Terrence is successful, that'll be the next one that Errol's coming to look to see firsthand?
If Errol's there, you would hope so. What's the number one fight you can make in combat sports? Combat sports is Crawford and Spence. And think about this one. How many times in the history of boxing, has there been two guys in or around their primes, in or around their best weight division, who are both boxer punchers, meaning we've seen them win big fights on boxing ability because Errol Spence outboxed Mikey. Oh, Mikey was moving up. Everyone shut up. Mikey's very, very good. and Errol Spence beat him behind the southpaw jab and his defense. We know he's a boxer puncher, right? They're both complete fighters. Spence, high volume of punches, real punching power, hand speed, boxing skills, can play defense, has shown heart, chin, stamina, like what a body, head, what do you want? And Crawford, plus he's a switch hitter and all that. How many times have guys with those styles, in their primes, in their best divisions, both been undefeated, both been top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the world? Let me put it another way. The winner of that fight would be the best everyone would say that's the best pound-for-pound fighter. How many times has that happened in the history of boxing?
Trinidad De La Hoya.
Trinidad was not a boxer-puncher. Trinidad was a destroyer.
Corte De La Hoya?
Corte was not a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. Top 10.
Mosley
De La Hoya wasn't undefeated. The closest.
Man, you were ready for us,
huh? But Sugar Ray had lost to Roberto Duran. Right? So like I'm just pointing out, I'm not saying it's the best fight ever. I'm saying it is a very rare, maybe even a unique circumstance. And if Crawford beats Porter, again, let's not rush there because Porter's here for a reason.
Right.
If he does, that's the best fight you can make in combat sports. And if it doesn't happen, fans are going to want to know why.
Can Boots maybe beat them all one day?
Who?
Can Jaren maybe
Boots? We got to see Boots on the next level. But Boots is very promising. He has deep skill. And the only question is, does he have the level of fast twitching to now take it to the next level? Because usually guys who are skilled as Boots, what separates them from do they turn out to be really good world-class fighters or great world-class fighters depends on if they have that next level speed, right? So against a lower level fighter, Boots can look quick, and he is quick. Now we need to see him against that next level. He's obviously very skilled.
Hey, you mentioned Thomas Hearns. How was Thomas Hearns doing a dream match with Bud Crawford? What's your take? And we got our wish.
Bud is like Tommy Hearns at welterweight only ever lost one fight to Sugar Ray Leonard, and it was Sugar Ray Leonard's best night, and he had to come back in the fight to do it. And by the way, he did 12 rounds when they got in the fight. So like Hearns at welterweight. No one's unbeatable, but it takes like one of the best fighters ever in his prime on his best night in a come from behind win. That's his Hearns has only lost to welter. Like maybe Bud could do it, but Tommy Hearns was different at welterweight.
Max, thoughts on Canelo moving up?
Keep your fingers crossed.
Hey, Max, we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
Hey, look forward to your new round. Canelo moving up to cruiser, Max, thoughts?
My hat's off to him if he wants to move up for bigger challenges. Just because you win a belt doesn't make you champ. If he beats a world-class cruiserweight, that's a great accomplishment. It does not make him cruiserweight champ. And if he is going to be fighting at cruiserweight and he's fighting Kovalev at light heavy, then the second best fight that can be made in combat sports is what? If Crawford and Spence is the best, what's the second best fight that can be made?
Canelo Benavidez.
Canelo and Benavidez. Canelo and Benavidez is a perfect styles matchup. I think Canelo would be the favorite, to tell you the truth. But I want to see it. I want to see him beat a light heavyweight in his prime with Benavidez style, which would be Benavidez just wants you to stand there so he can come and get you. Canelo just wants you to come to him so he can counter. It's like Vasily Girev and James Toney back in the day at cruiser. It would be guaranteed fight of the year.
Max, I remember when you were talking about Godzilla Kong and you said that Godzilla's like 30 stories high and Kong's only like 2.
Right.
But your argument for Pacquiao being better than Mayweather all time is that Pacquiao was a champ at, 115?
Oh, you're paying attention. 112.
Yeah, 112.
He was the lineal champion at 112.
So what did that then, kind of that argument not make sense, like the smaller guy against the bigger guy?
No, we're talking pound for pound. The point is that what they've done with King Kong and Godzilla is made a pound for pound fight. They blew up King Kong to Godzilla size so you can see who'd win pound for pound.
Okay.
Right? Pacquiao is not going to beat Floyd. He's a naturally smaller fighter. But the fact is, and boxers have the advantage over the sluggers usually, right? But Pacquiao, and we're going to end it right over here, guys. We're going to have to cut it off at some point. Pacquiao. When you talk pound for pound, if you don't start your career at 112, you win your first lineal championship at 112. And then you move up 112, 115. He didn't make every stop, but a lot of them. 112, 115, 118, 122, 126, 130, 135, 140, 147, 154. And he won belts in a lot of those divisions and cleaned out some of them and was really the only legitimate 4-division champion in the history of boxing is Manny Pacquiao. No one else has really been the champion of 4 separate weight classes. There's always been a belt here or a belt there. Pacquiao's the only one to do it. So when you do all that, even if you're not as invincible as someone else on your best day, when you take the weight of all his accomplishments, you can make a good argument that Pacquiao is pound for pound better than Floyd. But what's interesting about Floyd is when he says TBE, he's not talking about in the ring. He said someone else can have it. He's talking about playing the whole game. And he's probably right. If you want to talk about both, because in the ring, he's one of the 10 best ever, Floyd, and one of the 3 best pure boxers ever, along with Pernell and Willie Pep. And then out of the ring, he minimized risk, made $500 million, whatever he did. He played the game better than anyone else. In terms of in-ring accomplishments, Pacquiao is probably the guy with the best argument against Sugar Ray Robinson.
All right, guys.
Appreciate you, Max. Thank you, man.